This is lesson 16-1, converting customary measures. Our essential question, how can you change between units of customary measure? And we're going to be using this chart to help us convert. We have one vocab word, capacity, which is the volume of a container measured in liquid units. So we have example number 1. We have 3 gallons equals X amount of quarts. So sometimes when, like in the book, you'll see they'll just leave this blank. They won't put in a variable. But I like to put in a variable. It makes it easier, I think. So we're trying to figure out how many quarts equal 3 gallons. So the way that we solve this is by setting up a proportion. So the first part of the proportion is the information that we have in the problem. So we have 3 gallons and X amount of quarts. So I just set that up to look like a fraction so I can make it into a proportion. All I did was take these two numbers right up here and make them into what looks like a fraction. And then I say equals, and then my second part of the proportion comes from this chart. Now, I have to decide which one I want to use. Well, I know I'm comparing gallons and quarts. So I need to look for something in the chart that compares gallons and quarts. And I can see right here that 1 gallon equals 4 quarts. QT stands for quart. So that becomes the second part of the proportion. We have 1 gallon. I just write exactly what it says in the chart, exactly what I have circled, over 4 quarts. Now I matched up my gallons. I put both of the gallons on top and both quarts on bottom. That's important. You have to match them up. And now I cross multiply to solve. So 1 times X just becomes 1X, or since 1 really has no value, we can just say X. And 3 times 4 is 12. So X equals 12, and we can go back up in our original problem and plug in that answer. So 3 gallons equals 12 quarts. Example number 2, we have 36 inches equals blank feet. And so I put an X in for my blank. So I'm going to set that up as the first part of the proportion. So 36 inches over X feet. And all I did was take this information and put it into what looks like a fraction. Equals, now I have to look at my chart and I have to find the comparison between inches and feet. So I see up here 1 foot equals 12 inches. So that is the second fraction. That's the second part of my proportion. So even though it says 1 foot first, I have to put that on the bottom because I have feet on the bottom here. So I have to have feet on the bottom on the other side. I have to keep them the same. So again, from my chart, 1 foot equals 12 inches. And now we can cross multiply. 12 times X is 12X. And 36 times 1 equals 36. Now I have to get X by itself, so I have to divide by 12 on both sides. This side crosses itself out, so I'm just left with X. equals, and then I do 36 divided by 12, which is 3. So back up in my original problem, 36 inches equals 3 feet. Example number 3, we have 2 miles equals blank feet. So I put in an X. So I write that as the first part of my proportion. 2 miles over X feet. Now I look in my chart and see the comparison between miles and feet. And I see that here. It says 1 mile equals 5,280 feet. And again, I lined up my miles at the top and my feet at the bottom. Cross multiply, so x times 1 is just x, and 2 times 5,280 is 10,560. So back up in the original problem, 2 miles is 10,560 feet. And example 4, we have 5 pints over X cups. And I just took this information here. Equals, now I have to look in my chart and see the comparison between pints and cups. And I see that right here. So 1 pint equals 2 cups. Cross multiply, 5 times 2 is 10, and 1 times x is x. So x equals 10. Back up in our original problem, 5 pints equals 10 cups. Okay, here are your 3 practice problems. You're doing the same thing. Set up a proportion and use the chart to help you figure that out. Now, number 3 does not have a conversion for gallons to pints. It has quarts to pints and then quarts to gallons, so you have to do some work there to figure that out. Don't forget a word problem or a question and rate your understanding.